looks like this is sponsored by this wine because it looks like they're photogenically set up there.
Yeah,
Is this
we're
one me?
influencers now. This is you right here.
Okay.
But
If they want to know it's
Sometimes I
fine.
sit over here.
I'll sit facing the
I'm
door.
gonna face. Yeah, I should.
Sitting facing the door is awesome. It
Dave really likes to sit facing the door, so I usually don't because I know that he prefers to sit facing the door because he's an old cowboy.
that's like the official traumatized man seat is
I know,
is
but
facing
yeah,
the
he-
door.
Let me see my last
Bless you.
interaction with Vincent Zambon. Because I feel like then I'll know if I'm on the show too soon.
Are you doing Beast Tuesday?
No. I have to do. You're on Beast?
Yeah, it's just me all by my lonesome.
Oh, it's your first Beast?
No, I opened for Sean Patton like 5 years ago
Oh,
at Beast,
okay.
but
Oh, yeah.
it's the first time Zambon has booked me on Beast. I
Got
think
it.
it was Polk.
It was Polk before, yeah.
I'll message him later and I feel like we're
Can I have more, even though I'm not sure how I felt? Can I try it again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
What is that?
Well, I was in a good mood yesterday, and I'm in a good mood today, so it's hard to tell. But maybe I'll be in a better mood.
Yeah. Would you like one? It is an amino acid that is naturally occurring in green tea. That
I was like, you had me there. I'll take whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But is it like for mood and like just?
it's an
nice?
anxiolytic and it promotes wakefulness without making you jittery. I just took one of those, but one that has also 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. So that's probably why I was blowing up the group chat again. Dude, I like that's the thing that I most associate with enjoying drugs is like Facebook chatting the shit out of people.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do that too much. Yeah. More alcohol for me. I mean, alcohol is a drug.
I'm
but
a texty drunk.
same. And
is-
I'm also sometimes just a texty person. So
Yeah. I feel like being able to type on my computer has made me sometimes
Can I get
send
one of
people like
those
3
things?
paragraphs.
Same.
You both made fun of me on the group chat yesterday.
I know. Well, only because Theranos sounds like the Indian.
It's true.
I don't
That's
think
it.
we were making fun of you. I think it was just a bit.
Yeah, it
dude,
wasn't really.
I need
We're way
to.
more direct when we're making fun of you.
I'm really excited
It's a lot of
to.
bald bitch stuff.
I'm really excited to watch the HBO thing.
Did you see the Trump interview where they asked him what his favorite part of the Bible was, and because he says
And
the
he
Bible's
named a
his
book that
favorite
doesn't
book.
exist.
Yeah, well, he says like no, he didn't even name a book that doesn't exist. He said that's a really personal question. I'm not going to answer it. And then they're like,
Well played,
so no
honestly.
story that is like inspiring to you, no even just any lesson. And
Right.
he's just like,
It's like-
that's very personal. And they're like, are you more of an Old Testament or a New Testament guy? And he just went both. I was like,
Every time I've tried to read the Bible, I read like two, I guess they're not paragraphs or whatever, but two
Verses.
chunks, and I'm like, this shit sucks.
It picks up in the second half.
It's all.
I've never read. I've
No
never
one
read any
edited
of
that
the Bible.
shit.
For being raised
They
Catholic
edited it
and
so
I,
many
like, I've
times,
never
and
read
they
any
never
parts
tried
of
to
it.
make it all seem like the same book.
Well, no.
It's like the girl talk of books.
But it's like a Baton Rouge comedy album of. So wait, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Laura and I were talking really, really drunk the other night about how your Catholic school was like different from a lot. Like you said,
it was like a very liberal Catholic school.
that's cool.
I mean, it's not in that it's like had a lot of controversy about hating gay people. Not like hating them. So it's like such a dilemma because they like are a very like women, like female empowering, really like I met more like diverse religion there than I ever had at my public school. I met more people of color there than I ever would have met at my public school. So it was like a really eye-opening experience to go there. And it was very empowering as a young woman. But then it's that weird thing where they're like, but we kind of have to toe the party line when it comes to like not accepting
Yeah.
gay people and not. But like there's been trans students that have graduated from there that like have come out to my mom teaches there and they like came out to her first and she like helped shepherd them into and like
Yeah.
and so she has this dilemma because she's like, I hate all of the like hateful parts of the Catholic Church I struggle with, but I also can help more young women in this role than I'd ever be able to help outside of this thing.
No,
and I feel
absolutely.
like that's how so many nuns feel, I feel like, is that they're like, I want to do good, but also there's just like so much toxic like lessons in this institution.
It's a giant child rape organization.
Okay, but
And nuns get abused all the time too.
Yeah.
Like constantly.
But I hate it when people are like, I can't believe anyone's still associated with the Catholic Church. And I'm like, what about people that like aren't child raping and like need to, I don't know. Like,
that they believe in the
I don't
true
want-
message of what they think is the pure good message of
Right.
it rather than the
I just
know.
think, and also like nuns have so much less power and like, I just think that I agree for priests. I think if you want to become a priest, you know, that's weird. I don't know. I think because obviously I don't like priests. I don't like the Vatican, but I understand why someone would still want to stay. Like if someone had joined,
is like in it already. That's how I'm with
Yeah.
my mom. My mom doesn't really like go to church anymore or anything. Like, don't tell her job, I guess. But like I would talk to her about it where I'm like, aren't you so frustrated? Because like a few years ago, 2 women that graduated from my high school got married, and they're like really involved with the high school still, and they're amazing, and they've always been really involved. And one of them got selected to speak at the May crowning, which is like a giant.
Oh, we had a
religious
May
thing.
crowning
Yeah.
too. Did y'all vote a girl in?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like the woman who crowns
I was a rep
Mary.
in 4th grade.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I had no friends.
I was really focused on Mary.
Anyway,
But like she got chosen to speak at May crowning, and then like 2 days before, they were like, "Oh, you can't speak at May crowning because you're a lesbian. Like you're not representing the life that Catholicism is about." And so like
not getting any dick. Yes, it was. It's just like Mary.
yeah. So like since then, like an Eagles, which is like our mascot from high school, like an Eagles for Equality, like Facebook group. And so it's like very interesting to see like they taught us all these lessons about being progressive and strong, but then they're like, but we still rep the Catholic Church. And so it's just like a lot of people calling them out.
Well, I mean, if you're an institution technically under the like umbrella of the Catholic Church, it's like structured like the fucking military. So it's like
Yeah, you like have to just obey orders.
yeah,
and
or you're not Catholic,
or you don't
Right.
get funding from the Catholic Church, which is a huge
Which is a huge thing. And that's the thing that always confuses me about people who self-identify as Catholic who are like pretty down in every other way, because it's like they'll be like, yeah, but I actually think this, and it's just like no, like
The Catholic Church says that you're not Catholic.
exactly,
Yes.
yeah. If you don't,
So-
there's a guy at the top
Right.
who tells you what to think,
And what they'll say, I am a Catholic because of all the spiritual stuff, and I don't care what those people think. Which
Right,
is like
right.
Yeah.
when it comes to
But that's what like being Protestant is. It's like
Right.
being able to have
know,
a direct relationship with God.
Yeah.
also the idea that Catholics like they distinguish themselves from Protestants because they're like, no, we actually believe in transubstantiation. What is it?
Oh, yeah,
Transubstantiation.
yeah.
And they're like, no, it really is God's blood. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. No one thinks that they're cannibalizing anyone when they're eating the fucking wafers.
the thing about
And then Episcopalians are like, no, we believe it's a symbol. And I'm like, clearly that's what we all believe.
Oh, wait,
Right.
have y'all
Like-
seen that scene in The Sopranos where Carmela takes communion from the priest at her house, like when they're like getting drunk and like flirting, and it's just like it just like closes up on her lips as like he like feeds her the wine, and it's like, oh, this is God's
So erotic.
blood.
Yeah.
It's the fucking. It's such.
But dude, there's still
It's all
people.
it's all sex
so it
shit,
used to
for
be-
sure. That
it
scene
used to
is
be
so
that-
good.
It used to be that you were not supposed to touch, only a priest could touch the body of Christ. So old people, like my grandmother, will still go up and just open her mouth, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, and they have
the
to,
priest
like,
put
rest
it
it on.
directly on her tongue. And like same with the wine, because like you're not allowed to hand. Well, now it's changed because they were like, this is weird. But some old bitches are still like, no, put your
This is
finger
a
in my
weird
mouth,
way to drink
father.
the blood of God.
right.
Yeah, they have to like,
Which is MD 2020 or
layback.
something. One time we found MD 2020 in the rectory, but obviously it's not what the church
Wait,
wine
it's called
is.
a rectory.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
What? Oh, goofy.
Yeah, Vatican
lot of
II
bubble
as
stuff.
like an event was just everyone going, okay, like what's the weird stuff that needs to be less weird?
they're like as a PR thing. What do we
Yeah,
believe?
yeah.
And not be so
Yeah.
When was
freaky.
that?
60s.
60s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 50.
Well, because before that, it was like my mom, like it was church was all in Latin,
And the-
like
the-
it was.
That's
it was
insane.
The priest faced away from
Yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else.
Oh my God. I didn't
Everyone just had
realize
to
that.
stare at some man's ass.
Right, yeah.
As he's spoken
Getting
a
farted
dead
on.
language. And then was like, come here and I'm going to make you drink blood out of my hand.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
freaky time. That's man. My cousin, my cousin, I think still goes to mass. Is a really like cool woman who's younger than me, and one of my favorite moments is so since I've been going to church, so like language changed up a few years ago. Like it became like you have to
Oh,
say
yeah.
and with your spirit instead of
Oh,
in peace
I
be with
always
you.
fuck that
every
up.
time.
Yeah. And so I went to church for my grandma's funeral. I like went to mass and I hadn't been in a while. And like right before the service, my cousin Annie just runs up to me and she goes, "I'm not judging you at all, but when's the last time you've been to church?" And I was like, "It's been a few years." She's like, "All right, let me do the rundown." And she just like gave me the cheat sheet of all the things that would be different.
Yeah.
And she didn't get to my cousin Kate in time. And so when it was like, "And with your spirit," I just saw my cousin Kate looking around like, "What's going on?"
I mean,
I
Catholic-
also did that during Jeff's niece's christening. I like said the wrong thing and everyone else was silent, and I was like, cool.
Yeah,
Catholic Mass just seems like a really slow and extremely boring line dance.
Because it's like
Everybody's
It's
staying.
only
Yeah.
usually about 50
Not
minutes though,
everybody
which is
knew.
way better than I've been to like Baptist masses and they take a long
I
time.
don't think. Do they call them masses?
Baptist services.
I don't know.
What do you
Yeah,
say?
I don't know.
And it's like 95% sermon anyway. It's like there's so much sermon.
The homily. What a
Oh yeah,
what
what a good time.
There's so many Jewish services that are like fucking 5 goddamn hours.
I have a
It's so
distinct
terrible.
memory.
much.
So we used to go to the kids' mass. So they would do the homily, and they would have the kids come up and sit by the priest, and he would like explain it to them in kids' terms.
Oh, he like sat backwards.
and
on a
I remember
chair and
being
was
like 5
"Hey."
years old, and him being like, "Abortion is murder." And I was like looking back at my mom, and she was just like, "Come back here, come back here." Because my mom, even then, my mom was like mad. Because my mom like thinks that abortion's wrong, but also thinks it should be legal because she
Yeah.
like intuitively, even though she's Catholic, knows that like she has very mixed opinions.
there are circumstances
Her
that
opinions have changed, but she at that moment was like, "I do not want this fucking old ass bitch telling my daughter about abortion right now when
Yeah.
we got no warning about that."
Also, you barely know about murder. at
I know.
that age.
I'm like,
yeah, or procreation really. Like,
there were so
any of
many
it, it's
times
like-
at the child mass where I was just like, I'm definitely going to hell. Like one of them, they were like, the meek will inherit the earth, and they were explaining that you're like, if you have a good life on earth, and if you don't like give enough to others, and if you're enjoying, basically, I
if you're
heard
having fun, you're going.
if you're
to
having
hell.
fun and have a good life, you're going to go to hell. And so I remember internalizing that and just being like, I'm definitely going to hell.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing bad's ever happened to me.
at 5.
Yeah,
It's just
I
like-
was like fucked up by church when I was a little kid. Those kid masses were worse than just not understanding anything.
That's so funny that at 5 you were like, I'm living a pretty charmed life.
I remember when I died. When I died.
We're like, wait a minute. Has Mary Devin been a ghost this whole time you've known her?
I choked on a tortilla chip at Cannon's. Do you remember that restaurant was on the parade route? There was I ate real fast and I was eating spinach dip and tortilla chips. And I remember my dad giving me the Heimlich and I didn't breathe for like a while. And I remember accepting my own death and being like, I think I'm gonna go to heaven. And I was like 7 years
Oh,
old.
that's kind of sweet.
Yeah, but and then my dad saved me. The chip came out like in Mrs. Doubtfire. It was awesome. Yeah.
Wow, that's like a really good bonding experience with your dad.
Yeah.
You didn't like break your rib or anything? Most of the time
Nope.
when people do the Heimlich right, you end up like breaking
Yeah.
your rib. It's, like, it's fucked up. You have to like really like
Hurt
Wail
people.
on them.
yeah. When I took
Well,
first
CPR
aid
will
classes,
break all of your ribs, yeah.
They said basically with like CPR or the Heimlich, they're like, it doesn't matter. Break their fucking bones. You
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to
'cause
Well,
make
yeah,
sure
because
that-
the air is more important
yeah,
than the
as
bones.
hard as you fucking can.
Yeah.
I remember it hurting, but I also remember it working. Maybe it's like I wasn't choking as bad as I thought I was, but I remember not being able to breathe.
Oh, that's
But-
so scary.
Also, I was little, so who knows? I could have like been more scared than was worthwhile. Maybe.
Anytime you can't breathe, I think you're allowed to be scared.
Yeah, because I don't think it was like that. It was like caught down here. I think it was like right here, but it was just blocking the airway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was a perfect tortilla block.
Yeah.
Like a little valve.
Gotta chew your food.
Yeah. I choked on water before in public while eating alone, and that was extremely. Like I was waiting. Do you remember Inga's? The like.
I worked there for one semester.
Oh yeah. So there's it's like basically a Subway that lost its license.
Yeah.
and so it's just like a sandwich joint, and they made good sandwiches, and I remember I was sitting there sipping a cup of water, waiting for my sandwich to come out, and just the water went down the wrong way, but like a lot of it, and so like I like stood up and was like like doing this, and somebody tried to give me the Heimlich, and I was like, because I knew I was gonna be embarrassed because it was just water. It's like, just give me a second, but it took like 3 minutes for me
That's
to be
the
able
worst.
to breathe. It was so fucking
Oh,
annoying.
God.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Are you okay?" Like
Yeah.
you could be like, "I'm fine. I'm just actively choking.
Yeah.
I can't breathe."
Yeah, I'm fine.
You have to like
I'm
give a
just,
thumbs up.
yeah, mostly my pride was hurt. It was very embarrassing.
I wish there was something you could like write on or something like that to just be like, it's just gonna be awful
Yeah,
for
just
a
like
while.
erase all the specials from
Yeah.
the whiteboard. I'm
Don't
fine.
help me.
Don't help me.
Fuck this turkey club.
You're like, is this some bad performance art that he planned on?
Yeah.
It's like, don't help me.
I choked right before we got here. Well, it wasn't really a choke, but I was drinking some tea, and I spit taked. And I tried to get it back into, because I was still holding the mug. I tried to get it back into the mug, but I just got it all over my mirror.
Nice.
And I was kind of in a hurry, so it's still there.
What were you laughing at?
I think I just forgot how to drink
Swallow?
liquid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, should we
just
introduce our
exploded.
guest?
Oh yeah.
Hi.
Hi, this is Laura Sanders. local comedian and graphic designer.
Hi, everyone.
Buy her album. Oh God, please like me. Please like me. Right?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Every time Vincent Zambon announces, he just goes, "Oh God, like me."
Oh God, like me.
He's projecting.
Or he goes like, "Please like me." He always shortens in a way that I find so charming.
Yeah.
I like anytime he says it, I was like, "Say anything you want." I love how you say this.
Buy her album. It's called God Likes Me.
I'm trying to think of the funnier Vince fuck ups. Oh man, he's forgotten someone's name that he like knew his whole life once. I forgot who it was. Damn it! I wish I had these like up in the front.
That happens to me sometimes. It actually really freaks me out.
One time
Yeah,
I was about to intro, I was like hosting Local Uproar, and I was introing Andrew Healing, and I was looking at him, and I was like, fuck. Like, I'd
You
known
forgot
him
his
for like
name. Yeah.
3.5
You
years.
were like, bald bitch man.
No, and that like, and when you blank, you just blank. It doesn't. There's nothing you can
Love
do.
you,
but
Andrew.
just, like,
I don't think
hope.
he listens, but you don't have to bleep it out. We love you.
What if this is the first episode he listens to?
No.
Well, speaking of
I was just-
bald bitch man, also Leon Blanda did that to me, and like I could see the panic in his face, and I just like mouthed like Benjamin Hoff. I was like, I've been
That's
here
very
very
Yeah,
much.
nice.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
like
very
I'm not
sweet.
even offended. It's just
Yeah.
like that. Oh,
Yeah, he was like super apologetic. He was like, I don't know what the
But
fuck
if someone
happened.
I feel like if I did
Like,
that
we
to
text-
you, I'd be like, you know, I know you. It's
Yeah.
just that I had a moment where I just didn't.
We
remember
text
anything.
jokes to
Yeah.
each other. Like we're like
Yeah.
friends. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah. But I don't know. Sometimes that shit just happens.
Lauren Malera, I'm like very focused on saying her last name right because everyone says Malara and it's like very and so
Oh,
like
I say Malera. That sucks.
yeah,
Okay.
it's malaria. She, like malaria.
I've
That's
told you
how
she's
she goes.
malaria,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so, but it's just funny because she always calls me Laura Saunders. She introduces me, and I just am like, oh, that's so funny.
Y'all are both calling each other the name that would sound a little bit sexier.
yeah, like the fancy name.
Yeah.
like that.
I feel like
Malara.
Sanders and Malera are both
The,
like,
like
more
harsh A.
harsh A, yeah.
like very Midwestern, very Toledo,
Yeah.
Ohio.
Who is it that always says "Thank you"? I'm Mark Norman. Is that Scontrino?
Oh,
Or is it Mark?
Garrett. I mean Garrett. No, oh my God! I always call this is Keegan Connell. I always call Garrett.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Me too.
And they look nothing alike, but just that name, Keegan and Garrett are like
They don't
of
even
the
have a
same-
He
similar
sounds
vibe.
exact-
same name
Name to
family.
me, yes.
Like common names that were new agey 10 years ago.
I called him
Yeah.
Garrett to his face once, and I felt so terrible because I know Keegan. Like I
Yeah,
am,
yeah.
like I
I
am
call
friends with
Keegan
him.
Keenan all the time, and then sometimes I feel bad, and I'm like, no, it's a dumb name.
Dude,
I don't feel bad.
recently I was like, tried to get his attention. So I was like, Keenan. And then he's like, he turned around, he goes, did you just call me Keenan? And I said, no. And he was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I said Keegan.
I said Garrett.
And then I said, what did you think I said? And he said, Keenan. I was like, nope.
Nope.
Did not say that.
That's crazy.
Hell yeah.
But he sounds exactly like Mark Norman, for
It's so
sure.
Yes,
fun to
he does.
gaslight
Yeah.
men.
He knows
I know,
it.
I do.
It's fine.
Yeah.
By just calling them Garrett.
Yeah.
That's not even close to
Garrett, what did you call me? I called you Keegan. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, Lauren Malera brought me Epsom salts at my work today. And
That's
it was very
so
sweet.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I think it was because
really
it
just a
made
nice thing.
it made like her skin burn or something. But I was like, I'll give it a whirl.
oh, that's it. It sounds like she's like a specific kind of witch.
I love Epsom.
It's like these burn my skin.
See, I should have
They're
gotten
like
3
lavender,
bottles,
too.
honestly.
Yeah.
We're about to fucking pound through. Do we have any other booze?
A bottle each of Casal Garcia.
No, half a bottle each, which is a normal fine amount.
Yeah, you suck at math.
No.
dude.
I thought you were talking about after we get the third bottle.
Oh, he was doing
Yeah.
post third bottle math.
Yeah,
No.
I was doing Keenan math.
You're still wrong.
I know.
There's
I
4 of
want.
us.
I feel like I should have
Yeah.
gotten 4 bottles of Vino Verde. That's what I should have done. We should have each had our own bottle. That would have been a fun podcast.
But yeah, we just sit with it in front of us and just drink out of the bottle. Yeah. And then the end, I'm
It's
like,
so
I just
good.
truly think everyone's so talented.
Isn't it so delicious?
I hate like most wine, and I love this shit.
It's so good. It's so
Except
crisp.
last time I saw you drunk, you just kept telling me how not funny I
Oh,
was.
I was really mean to Benjamin.
Why?
Because I just was, I don't know. I just
You
probably.
were on one.
You did that thing. You did that thing where you say someone's punchline to them, like you say a comic's punchline to them mockingly, and
Oh, wow.
it's just been on loop in my head for about
was-
a week, and I've been extremely depressed.
I woke up
Should-
wait,
should
I
Julie-
was
Was it the Kate Mason night?
Yes.
Oh damn.
I woke up the next morning and I just saw a text from Benjamin being like, "But seriously, am I not funny?" And I was like, "I have no idea what I just said to him," because I was just like,
that was like only like a week after Julie Mitchell
Julie's
on
a
the pod.
different thing. No, because like
Oh, I have to be nice when Julie gets to be mean? Is that...
no,
She's not mean. She
Julie
doesn't
just-
understand Benjamin's jokes.
Yeah.
She literally has no idea what I'm saying ever. It's weird
Oh,
that we're
wow.
friends.
It's just
like,
you have like a disconnect of humor that...
it's
Y'all
jokes.
are autistic in completely different ways. Like,
I am so not autistic.
you're mostly okay. So you're not autistic, but like sometimes you don't hear when people are being critical, which is good. But Julie always thinks people are being critical and making fun of her in a
Wait,
way.
give me an example.
Like, okay, I'm trying to think. Like, I'll be like, that person is mad at us. Like when we see someone, and then you. But also, maybe this is also my own insecurity.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect storm of him assuming at all times nothing he does has ever been
That's
wrong.
how it started because I
And me
said...
being
you
like,
being like,
everyone hates me.
everyone
if they,
hates me all the time.
If they don't kiss my fucking feet, they want to kill
Yes,
me.
that's because
Yeah.
it started with me saying if I had the confidence of Benjamin Hoffman, I would be famous. Like that's
Dude, that is amazing. Oh god, dude.
and
Okay.
it was me like admiring your confidence.
No, but what you're doing there is
He's
just
not
saying
famous.
like you don't deserve to feel good. That's what I heard, and I think that's what it is.
No,
It is. I will
I
say it is a
think- yeah.
brutal burn, but that's not what it is. It's saying that because you know who does have the confidence of Benjamin Hoffman? Benjamin Hoffman. You
Yeah.
know who's not famous? Benjamin Hoffman.
That's why it's a burn.
That's
But
why it's a
also
burn.
no. Also, I've been doing comedy for like 8 more years than you. So like I feel like I was saying like if I had that confidence and was at it this long with all this raw talent that Laura Sanders is bringing to the table. But I'm just saying like I remember telling you that kind of jokingly, but it is the truth.
I will.
But also
The burn was that you're really good at comedy, not that Benjamin sucks. I think.
yeah,
I will
it was like
also
a pro
say
me burn, not
that
an anti-you burn.
Benjamin's confidence has its limits, and sometimes he can be really down, specifically on his comedy. You've
Right.
seen it happen.
Which I found out by the text message the next day. Which I didn't. I thought you were so impervious that I was like, this is gonna be fun
Yeah,
to make fun of.
I mean, because it's the thing I'm objectively worse at than anything else in my life, and the thing I spend the most time doing.
So yeah, I can see.
No,
see
you're
where
good
I-
at comedy. You're being stupid. You're very good at
Yeah.
comedy.
You're an idiot for thinking you are, but you're very well. I
You're very
also
good
think,
at it. You're in a downward spiral. You keep saying that you're bad at it and getting fixated on it. Anyway, keep on going.
Well, I'm saying like even if I'm blackout
Because of
drunk,
Laura Sanders.
I would never if I thought someone was truly a bad comedian, I would never spend a long time making fun of them. If I was drunk, I just wouldn't talk to
Laura
them.
definitely would not do
No,
that.
I would like I know that's like a thing that like even it's like the same thing.
I
as,
think
like,
Laura's too nice to bad comedians.
it's a problem that is oh my god, sprouted so many horrible comedians' careers. I've had so many bad people be like, I never would have had the confidence if you didn't have that conversation with me. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
god, I
fuck.
wish I never would have had.
if I had known I had that power.
I know, well, because I like have a very encouraging face and body, and so then I'll see a bad comic, and it's like torture because they'll come up to you after and be like, "Here I am in your fucking face, like waiting for you to say a thing," and so I'll usually try to point out like one thing that I thought was good or had promise, rather than being like, "You were really funny." I'll just get really. It's a thing my grandma used to do. Like my grandma used to say she would never call babies cute that were ugly, so she'd just call them small. And my
so
grandma
good.
was like really good at specific compliments. So you weren't lying, but you were just like poining out a
Your baby's
specific-
eyes are open.
Look at how awake that baby is. And parents are just like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And so with like a new comic, I'm very like, oh, that's like a really interesting thing to talk about, that like fucked up thing that happened in your childhood, which means like you have a great life to base comedy on, but you're not a good writer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But to them, they're like, I'm funny.
You know
I'm
what?
just
Dating
like that.
is weird.
Yeah, like I just feel like I'm like, oh, you should like mine more into that, meaning like you barely told a joke, but then and they're just like, oh, she's really giving me good feedback. Which hosting an open mic has made me less like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love watching you. Like, I think it's taken a long time. Not that I need someone to be a mean person for me to feel like we can fully connect, but I do, and that is true.
But actually
that is true. But like, I am not just mean, but I just feel like it's like getting to know you better and seeing like your tells for like when you actually are like extremely mad at someone.
Yeah.
Like when you give someone the light when you're fine, you're like.
I
and
try
when
to
you're
like
mad,
laugh.
you're like, like
For
bitch,
the
this better
listeners,
be
there
one
was a
minute.
smiling
Yeah.
face and then a bitchy face.
Thank you.
But it
I was
wasn't
trying to
just a
figure out how
bitchy
to say
face.
that.
It wasn't just a bitchy face. It was like a smiling, like eyes wide
I
open.
just
hey.
talked to like Kate about how when I light people, if I'm enjoying their set, I try to like giggle while I'm lighting them to be like, we're all having a great time, but we just got to wrap it up.
You definitely are very, very conscious. I don't know how, like, you're very conscious of like how other people are feeling all the time, which is a very.
I think that's why you and I get along, is because I do
And why I
that
can hurt you so deeply when I
too.
criticize you.
You're way better at it than I am, but
Yeah.
I think we both are like acutely aware of how everyone's doing at all times.
Yeah, which I feel like after
It's the
like many
Midwest,
weeks,
probably.
it's a Midwestern thing for sure. And after I was thinking like, because I feel like when I first started hosting with Julie Mitchell, I was like, oh my god, she's such like a tough bitch, and like she's so good at this. And then I was
No,
like,
she's good at it. I just said no about tough bitch. She's
No,
tough,
she-
but also not tough.
But like, yeah, she's like very sensitive and like I think also like empathetic to other people's feelings. But in the open mics, like when I was like a new co-host with her, I was like, oh my god, she's like very good at not taking shit here.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's just because she's been doing this long enough that she doesn't have time to take shit. Because if you took shit every week, it'd be
Exhausting.
It would be
Yeah.
so exhausting. There's so
I also
many.
don't think
do
it's
respect
in
that.
her DNA to be able to take shit and not, well, because she immediately responds to everything that happens to her.
Yeah, that is true. She's like a very like, boom, this is happening
Yeah.
right now. Yeah. That's,
Yeah,
And if she can't, she'll stop completely wherever she is and write 5 pages in her journal that she has at all time, and then read it back and then say it to someone.
Yeah, she like processes things very like, and I feel like for me, I'm like, I don't know, maybe they didn't mean that or whatever. And Kate now calls my open mic persona when I don't take shit chartreuse Laura. Because whenever I drink chartreuse, she said like whenever I drink chartreuse, I would like take less shit because we had to deal with more like, you just have to deal with so many people. Women have been bad at the mic too. Women have like winked at me when I lit them and shit, and like done that things where I'm like, am I your assistant?
I
Like,
remember
what
you
is-
wait, can you talk about a little bit more about the woman that when you gave her the light, she winked at you because
She
it makes
was-
you so mad.
It makes me so mad because I support women so much, and so if a woman disrespects
Some
me,
women are bad.
Feminism
I know.
feminism is
I
knowing
just
that
feel
some
like a
women
lot
are
of feminists-
total trash.
A lot of feminists are like, I've literally seen people, Julie Mitchell, post, all women are perfect. And I'm just like, okay,
Oh,
no.
no.
It's
no.
okay if you hate a lot of women even. Like it's
Feminism
like,
is about equality, meaning that women can be
yeah,
such a dick
no one
bags,
should rape
and, like,
them,
you just,
but they might suck.
They don't
Like,
deserve to feel unsafe because they're bad, but they
Yeah.
deserve to feel bad
They
about being a
deserve to
piece
be
of
paid
trash.
the same amount at their jobs as men.
Yeah, and their shitty job they should have because they're a
Right.
shitty person.
And you can't be condescending to them, but they still might suck. Yeah.
Yeah, a woman came in that was very like old Hollywood's the wrong word, but like old entertainment, very like Road Dogg kind of like
Oh, yeah.
very like old comedy club, like, hey, I'm just kind of like, she didn't say anything like this, but I imagine that she would be like, I took my husband's credit card shopping. Like that kind of woman. Like that era of comedy.
Also, I feel like the 80s, 90s, like
yes,
Road.
comedy
Yeah.
boom,
Like
Road.
a Joan
yes.
Rivers.
They had to be like
kind of-
one
Oh,
of the
no, don't
boys
let-
was like
Yes,
part of
no,
that
no,
fucking
I don't
whole
mean
thing.
derisively. I just
Yeah.
mean like, yeah.
I mean, Joan Rivers had some awful jokes, but I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Joan Rivers.
But it was like a Joan
Jones-
Rivers wannabe. I feel
right,
that same
yeah.
way with Sarah Silverman.
Right,
like
right.
she's amazing, but she's like spawned a era of women that are like, it's edgy that I give blowjobs, and I'm like, no one cares.
Wait,
Yeah.
Like that's
Is this
It
the
used
Joan
to be
Rivers
cool.
wannabe that offered Jeff $50 to host?
No,
the
that's
Hi-Ho?
Carol Rivers, I think. I mean, unless you're
Carol Rivers.
Yeah.
she has the same last name as Joan Rivers.
that,
and
but her
so-
real name's Diane Carroll.
All right, whatever.
She won't listen to
She's
this.
truly a Joan Rivers wannabe. Then
Yeah,
No,
she
she's
changed her
fully-
name to Rivers.
She's fully crazy. She was in the green room in Hi-Ho and she took a video of me and then showed it and then texted it. She asked me for my number so she could text me the video that she just took of me.
Oh wow,
It was really weird. I'm
that
sorry.
is a very
green room?
intimate thing.
Yeah, at Hi-Ho. And like she did like 2
What
mics,
were you doing?
writing in my notebook.
Oh, so she's like, you can use this for B-roll.
Yeah. I was
Right.
like, no, we're not making a movie. We're just at an open mic right now.
Yeah.
So Road Dog Lady.
Oh, but she just like went over her time so much.
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of new comics go over their time, and I'm like, you just aren't used to seeing the light. I understand that they have a hard time, and I have to be kind of obvious, and I don't get mad. But I like lit her the first time, and she made very distinct eye contact with me, being like, I get it. I lit her the second time, and she like kind of like nodded at me, like, okay, yeah, I'll wrap it up soon, which is not what the second light
Yeah,
was
yeah.
for. And then I like just kind of lit her again, and she like winked and pointed at me like we were gonna fuck in her cheap hotel later. Like it was just like such a bad, and I was like, no, like don't disrespect me like that.
Yeah.
It's such a like. There's
Did
a
you
few
have to
things-
clap her off? Oh, sorry, go.
I just I waited for like a pause and then was kind of like, yeah, I like clapped her off kind of like it was like waiting for a punchline that was a punchline, and then was just like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is, which just like. I understand that new people at mics mess up, and I've had people run them light like crazy, and then after they like didn't realize and they're horrified, and I'm like, I completely understand that this is a new thing. You're nervous.
I've done that,
Yeah, like everybody's run the light. I've run the light a bunch, but it's just like the confidence of being like, this is my first time I've ever been here. You're hosting 30 comedians tonight, and I'm going to think that the shit I'm saying is so good
Right.
that
'Cause
they
you work
need an
so
extra
hard.
2 minutes of it.
You work so hard at that mic to make people feel like welcome instead of just being like, we got a lot of fucking people. Like, I love Cassidy, but I definitely feel like sometimes he like takes out all of the anger of
Yeah.
like 3 people on everyone at that mic.
Yes, that he's
And
like
I'm
takes the anger of like the
not
people that
everyone's
have
an
run it.
asshole.
Yeah.
So like
He
maybe
calls it a turd parade.
So I'm like, a lot of people that suck at comedy are not bad people, and a lot of
Yes.
people only suck at comedy because they just started. And if someone runs the light by 30 seconds, even if it is really by 2 minutes or whatever, because he like
Yeah.
is generous with it, whatever. If someone does that, that doesn't mean that they're an asshole. They could be like you. Like I
Yeah.
feel like you'll make an effort to like meet people where they are in terms of like.
Yeah.
Comedy knowledge.
Yeah.
And when people still walk all over you, I'm just like, well, now I kind of understand why Cassidy's such a dick
Right.
in a way.
I respect
Because you've
Cassidy
been
so
burned.
much
Yeah.
because I'm just like, like the ability you have to be like, just no, fuck you.
Yeah.
These are the rules. We're all gonna listen to him again. Like, because I feel like it is like you can decide to be very forgiving, or you can decide to whatever, and then you have to correct people later, which is kind of exhausting.
Yeah, that is
Or you
exhausting.
can't-
Because by the end of it, you're like, I don't want to be your fucking teacher and give you a progress report.
I
Right.
yelled in someone's face, "I'm not your coach. You need to leave" at one point,
Nice.
and that was a chartreuse Laura.
That shit kicked ass. I was there for that. That was so funny.
It was just like because someone just
He
kept,
was like, wait, so why didn't they laugh at me?
he said, "Why are you upset with me?" And because it was a night that a
where he was
lot
just
of
looking for like advice.
yes, he asked if I'd watched his set, and I was like, didn't really watch a lot of it. I was doing other shit, and then he was just like, you seemed like really upset with me because I tweeted out that the like secret theme of the night was hating women because it was like a time that everybody was disrespecting women at the mic, and then it was very much a like. It was he kept asking me why I was mad at him, and I said I wasn't specifically mad. And then he kept asking me for advice, and I finally had to just say like, I'm not your coach, and you have to leave.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not your agent, and I'm not your life coach. And then it took me saying you have to leave 3 times for him to leave, though.
I think you were drinking chartreuse.
I was. That was a chartreuse night because that was chartreuse.
They have the
Laura.
best cocktails at 12 Mile Limit.
12 Mile Limit. We're sponsored by 12 Mile Limit. Truly.
Honestly, it's a
I
great
do
bar.
love. I'm also very happy because there's been times there that a guy's been an asshole in various ways, and the bartenders have been like, "Do we need to kick anybody out?" And it's always been a situation that isn't escalated to that.
But it's nice to know that you have that support.
Yes,
Right.
that the
and that
bartenders
people aren't
immediately
so fucking
are
money hungry that the owner, because like
even if it's a regular or
Yeah.
anything, they're just like
T.
we
Cole's
will-
such a fucking dork, but he definitely does care more about like everyone feeling safe in his bar than like
And
making
even in the
$20 more
bathrooms, they added a new thing which I really like. That they're like, if you're feeling uncomfortable, tell the bartender, or you can call the bar, and they have the bar's phone number in the bathroom. Which I like. That I'm like, you could lock yourself in the bathroom and just like make a phone call.
Yeah.
And they say, even if we're busy, please do this.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's like, I'm happy to work in a bar like that. That
Yeah.
assholes will come in there plenty because assholes come in any bar in New Orleans. But like, it's nice to be like, okay,
It is nice.
Your sister's dance parties, she always does that.
Oh,
Wherever
he
it is.
wave.
Yeah. We put up posters. I've DJ'd with her a couple times, and I'm always poster duty, and I put up these posters that are like basically that. Like if anyone's making this is an asshole free dance floor, like consent
Yeah.
is king, whatever.
Queen.
but
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's king, is it? Okay. I
Okay.
see.
the
Now that gender is more non-binary, I don't know if it's worth this fight anymore.
royalty.
Yeah.
Consent is royalty.
Consent is the leader of the night.
The first time I ever did stand up, first of all, I was so nervous that when I closed up shop at the bookstore that I worked at, I forgot the combination to the safe. That's how nervous I was.
So you're like, all numbers mean nothing. to
Yeah,
me.
exactly. And so, this is also the night that I crashed my car and then had sex in it and got caught by a cop. You
Wait,
know the story.
wait. Is this a story that's already been told on the podcast, or can you elaborate? 'Cause that is a very good story.
So I'll just
Just to do a quick.
the reason I brought it up was because that night I ran the light so fucking hard because I just didn't see the light the whole time.
Yes, because you don't know to look for a cell phone
Exactly.
in
And
the
you were
darkness.
losing your virginity.
Yeah. And also, like, I I had like timed out my set and just like didn't leave any space for laughter. So I was like like read through the like,
You're like, I panic read this in a mirror, and it took only 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Turns out that was not a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean apparently it was, but like I did okay because it was an improv space, so everyone claps at everything. Everyone is Laura Sanders. No, you don't clap at everything. Although you do
Too many things.
You
to be
do.
fair.
I have punchlines that I love, even though they don't do well. And one of them you always laugh at.
You're so nice about actually listening to people's sets.
Yeah.
But I also like I won't do a like fake laugh at a punchline. I'll do a heartier laugh than I would
Yeah.
necessarily if I'm like, that's funny and it deserves praise and no one else is giving
Yeah.
it the praise
Yeah.
that it needs.
You do that, and it helps me to keep telling. Like,
And I try to get people to keep telling the punchlines I like by just being like, ha ha, please tell that again.
Yeah. and like John Mulaney has this story about his Donald Trump joke before Trump got elected, and like the line about like Trump's fine golden hair and how it never worked, but it worked on his special, and he's glad that he kept it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So do stand up for the first time ever, riding the biggest high of my life. I will never ever top that. I felt awesome after that set, even though I ran the lights so hard that they just cut all of the lights. They turned off every light in the building because I had run the lights so bad.
Someone went out and just cut down.
They got like an axe.
Like slowly.
But anyway, so
It's amazing.
Have I told the story on the podcast before? I know
No.
you know it.
I think it was on one of the episodes in the beginning before we released any.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, afterwards, like hung out at Iggy's, stayed really late with another comedian, and like went home together. And I was living at my mom's house at the time.
Cool.
And so I warned her. I was like, hey, so
This is the situation.
I live at my mom's house, and she was like, whatever, fine. And so we drive back to Metairie. And we're on
You have had a good set.
We're on City Park Avenue. And we had hooked up a little in the car before we left also.
Okay.
And so
the car was already like a sexy space.
right. So I
I'm sure it wasn't.
I had a Crown Victoria, a black Crown Victoria. Looks
Never
like
mind. Actually,
I was like,
So-
ooh,
A cop car.
I had a black Crown Victoria that looked exactly like a cop car.
I had one too.
Yeah, we've talked about
It was
this.
black and white.
It's the greatest.
Also,
car.
you couldn't unlock the back door from.
Oh, you actually did you get it from auction?
I got it from someone who got it from auction.
okay,
That's
yeah.
why it sucks.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
much. But
okay,
yeah.
so you had like the brand, but not it didn't have a life.
Mine
as
was a
former
straight up
police
like
car.
kidnap mobile.
Right.
Tinted windows. It was bad.
It was
Yeah.
creepy.
Damn.
So we like go to my car. We like make out in my car a little bit. The the headlights on my car go on automatically. And so they were on, and we were like making out. People were like looking in the window, and so I turned off the headlights so we could make out. And then
They're like, this guy's bad at
yeah,
this.
and anyway, so then we were making out, and then we were like, let's go somewhere. How about my mommy's house? And so we did, and so I pull out, and we're driving along City Park Avenue, and there's a car in front of us driving extremely erratically.
You just said we pull out.
I know.
Yeah.
So
All right,
we
all
all
right,
know. We
okay.
all know.
driving extremely erratically, and so I'm just following them, and they like make a weird turn, and I'm like, I guess this is the direction the road goes. And so he's turning into the New Orleans Museum of Art like little loop. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that. So
Next to the like paint strip like statue.
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
behind it, I thought that was bacon for like 2 years.
It's a Liechtenstein or however you
Yeah,
say his
yeah,
name.
Liechtenstein or whatever. Yeah, sure.
I thought that shit.
Liechtenstein.
I thought that
What
shit was
said.
bacon. All right, keep
okay, so and so once it becomes apparent that he's turning into this closed museum's parking lot, I'm like, oh, that's not the way I want to go. And so I just kind of like split the difference between the direction he's going and the direction the road is actually going. And I hit a curb really fucking hard. Turns out I had never turned my headlights back on, so I just didn't see it. And so like I fucked up every rim on my car. We like go flying over the thing, and like I just barely make it into a parking spot along City Park Avenue, and I look out. I get out of the car and I look, and I'm like, okay, every tire is flat. All the tires are flat. Do you want to just make out? And she's like, yes. And then we started like having sex in the car. And then I get a There's a knock on the
Oh
window.
my God, I would.
And it is.
cry.
I think it was like right before or right after a hurricane had come through, and so it was a Coast Guard guy, and he was like, "Hey, like, you can't do that here." And I was
Hey,
like, "Okay,
This
too
is
wet in
not
your car.
allowed.
yeah."
To have the Coast Guard.
And that was it. And
Sex
I
was so good that Coast Guard showed up.
yeah. It's it's good sex when search and rescue arrives. But so
It was actually the Mounties came first.
it was deadly do right. And anyway, so we get out and we call a cab, and then we go to take a cab to my mom's house to have sex. But before that happens, while we're waiting,
Oh my God.
while we're
I'm
waiting,
sorry. Also, just shout out to this other person.
the downest ass person of all time. Yeah.
Also, you know this person.
Of course I do, and I can't ask because it's a public podcast.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't-
you'll-
A public podcast.
I like the idea that
Barely.
they're
Also,
private.
barely. It's
podcast.
pretty, yeah.
Anyway, so while we're waiting for the cab, I see a cop come through and shine his flashlight into all the like an actual cop who was gonna like probably actually give tickets. So the Coast Guard
Yeah.
dude like helped.
Amazing.
Anyway, yeah, and then we went home and had sex at my mom's house, and then we took a cab to her car, and then she drove me back. Like in the morning, we took a cab to her car back in the Marigny, and then took
Oh,
a cab
man.
that she drove me back to
I
my
bet the
mom's
cab
house.
drivers were talking about y'all. They were just like, man, did we all drive? Did we, every single one of us drive them? Because wasn't there like three cab rides?
There were a number of cab rides.
Yeah.
So the moral
And
of the
that was
story,
when there was
and
some cabs.
I was not even that drunk. I had one drink.
Yeah.
It was an Iggy's drink, so it was probably a triple.
Two drinks, right.
Yeah.
But by that time, it had been like hours since you had one drink.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, there is like a drunkenness to being like, I performed and I did this thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
performed
yeah,
for the
yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
I'm about to have sex, and like
It's all very exciting.
Yeah, it was
The Coast Guard's in town.
the number
That's
one,
hot.
but yeah, and I had a panic attack about the fucking safe like earlier in the day because
So you were on like an emotional roller coaster.
it was a
that
wild
just was like,
it was a wild day. I will never.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is. I was a virgin the first time I did stand up, and remained a virgin for like several years into stand up.
What foreshadowing, too, that you were like, this night's not safe.
Yeah, every fiber of my being was like, "Don't do this," and I was right. And here I am doing a podcast in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of mistakes, for sure.
So that's that story.
Wow, that is a great first time. The first time I performed, it went well. A lot of friends came, and then I went home.
Wow, it's amazing that it went well though. Did
It did. Like, well,
When's the first time you bombed? How long into doing comedy did you bomb?
Oh, probably like, I mean, I'm sure I wasn't very funny the first time, but I was funny enough because I like tried very hard and I brought a lot of friends out. I feel like
No, most people try very hard and aren't funny the first time.
but like I like wrote it out and like really practiced
Mm-hmm.
it a lot and all that. And I was like funny enough to make people laugh. And then I feel like a couple, but I'm sure I was like medium. You know, I was like a very solid
Right, that's
medium,
still pretty
which is good for a
amazing.
start.
Yeah.
Like
For
a start.
starting out, yeah.
I think it was like a month or two in, and it was so nice because my friend Samuk Torgalkar, who's like an incredible comic still, he went up and he started a year before me, so he was like an old pro when I started because I was like, oh my god, this
Right.
guy's been doing it forever because he's been doing it for a
Fucking
year.
seasoned
Yes.
road dog. Because
And I'd
one time he went a town over.
Yes, and I'd like
do a
seen him
mic.
at the Funny
That's what I used to
Bone, and
think.
so
I was like, Alex Jennings is famous. He
Yes.
went to Lafayette.
Yeah, exactly. Like anyone that had been doing it for like 6 months, they're like, let me
Yeah.
give you some advice. And you're like, I'll take it because you're famous. But he bombed right before me. And I was like, if this guy can't do it. And it was just a mic, but I was like, if this guy's going to bomb, I'm definitely going to bomb because I have like nowhere near the skill that he has at this point. And then I did. And I was like, wow, that like felt nice. I compare it to like if you're doing like a rock climbing thing and you fall off the wall, you're really scared, and then you realize that just like you're fine. Like that it's like you fall off and then
And
you're like,
there's a-
oh, there's a rope and everything's still fine and I can just do it again.
Right.
And the sun rises the next day and
a
you're
good-
like,
yeah.
oh, bombing actually doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
It just
That's not how I feel. Still to this day, when I bomb, I'm just like, I know it's like I know I don't really want to kill myself. Like,
yeah. It does feel bad, but also like I don't know. If you bomb enough times, eventually you're just like, I wish that didn't. Like I bombed once for 30 minutes in front of my dad at a hotel bar in front of my dad and 5 other people.
but
and I had
was
to bomb.
there no one there?
There was like 5 or 6 people.
Okay, so
but
that's bombing in front of 5 or 6 people. At least it's because it's 5 or 6 people.
it was sure somewhat because of that, but it was still like just truly. It hurt even more than because it's like, hey, Dad, this is my career. No one's here, and I'm bad at it. And then we're gonna just sleep in this Holiday Inn together because we just like are on our way back from a family vacation. And he decided he had luckily seen me perform before, so he knew that I wasn't. And he just the next day, and I love my dad very much for this moment. My mom called and was like, How did Laura Set go? How was the show? And he goes, oh my God, it was so good. She was so funny.
Oh.
And then he paused for a second and he started making throw up noises. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I retch when I lie.
Jesus
And then he just shat talked me for like,
Yes.
it was like truly.
Oh my God, I love your
My dad is very funny and like will shit talk very like so that's truly when I talk about how I'm like I would never shit talk someone that I care like I was like I would only shit talk people that I think are good like my
But
dad.
had y'all talked before that about your set?
Oh, that it was a horrible time.
Yeah,
Like
okay,
no,
okay.
we talked about it and I was like, man, that was rough. And he's like, that was rough.
But he understands the difference between like people not liking you and you not being funny.
Sure, but he also like I could have done. You could always do better in a situation.
Right.
No,
Right.
I don't think he was like you should have performed better. I'm ashamed of you. He was just like, what a bad time that was for
Yeah.
everyone involved. And I was like, yeah, it was a bad time. Like he's someone that if I ever tell a boring story,
If my dad said it to me, I would cry and hate him.
oh no, my dad is like exactly that shows that he truly loved me because he's exactly like that kind of funny. Because like if I ever tell a boring story, he'll like just go. You tell that on stage? Like he's just like a very funny shit talking man that
Yeah.
I appreciate. And but it's also very supportive in his actions.
Right.
So like I feel like that's how it balances out.
When I
Yeah.
was working at the Green Project for like a little bit, all my coworkers came to one show, and it was a terrible show, and I did awful, and I quit that job pretty quickly.
Where you're like, I can never face you.
Well, I also didn't like them, and
Yeah.
that place fucking doesn't pay people, and everyone gets tetanus, and it sucks. But
Yeah, that is a tetanus
they
factory.
recycle, so it's good.
Yeah, fuck.
They
Also,
recycle people.
2 weeks in a row. Okay, so 2 Fridays ago, all of the French people from my school, and when I say all the French people, I mean like obviously not all of them, but a lot.
I was at that fuck yeah. I think like a lot of people were coming up to you.
Yeah,
And, like,
and they were all like, "Oh, wait, this is so funny." One of the French teachers of the school came up to me, and he didn't understand when I was complaining about like men that are ironically funny that are actually just unfunny. And I was like, "Oh," and he said 9/11. Julian was like, when you say 911, why is it funny that he says 911 like the police?" And I was like, no, like 9/11, like September 11, 2001. And he goes, "Oh." And he like just was like so embarrassed because he was like, "I know we're supposed to care about that." Like he's just like,
he's like, I always forget, and they
yeah,
say
because he
never
wasn't.
forget.
He like just moved to America, but like no one. Yeah, it's like a different country's tragedy than his home country.
Yeah.
So like, why would he? Yeah.
He doesn't have a memory of that.
And then he
happening.
goes-
yeah.
And then he goes, and this was like many days after the show. This was like a full week after he saw it. He was like, "So American comedy is a lot of like," and I'm going to say this in an American accent because I can't do a French accent, but these are the words that he said. He said, "A lot of sex and also I'm fat."
Is that how you say sex and I'm fat?
And then he goes, "What is when you say I'm?" And he speaks like perfect English, but humor's like this thing that like you have to be in a culture for
Oh,
so long.
it's so hard to do
Yeah.
humor in another.
And so like I get also French people like are super horny and don't mind sex, but they're not ashamed of it. So like they don't understand why it's self-deprecating as much. I think.
Yeah, they're
And
like
that's
awkward.
my theory.
And they don't. And they also just don't understand the audience response because it doesn't generate the same amount of tension for a French person. That
It doesn't.
for
Yeah,
an
it doesn't.
American.
Yeah, there's not this like awkward interaction
Right.
about it. They're just
Right.
like,
They're
of
just
course
like,
you'd have
well-
sex in a car you just crashed.
One
Right,
of the French
exactly.
teachers came up to me, and I love him so much, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I understood all of it."
I like that. That's very funny. Yeah, everyone was kind of targeting them all night.
I know,
Yeah.
but they took it great.
That's good.
They loved it,
That's
and like
good.
I also targeted Claire because Claire's American, but like speaks fluent French and works at a French school. She's also my boss. Anyway, so long
Yeah.
story short,
you had
it was fun.
you had a cute interaction. Like you had a
Yeah.
funny interaction with her all during your set.
I'm the one that always roasts Claire, even though she's my boss, which is how it should be, I think. And then also the next week, my uncle Tommy, who's this like yaddy guy, who's actually my cousin, who definitely we've never talked about politics, but
Way
he
to
definitely
go
voted
with
for
the extra MY on that also.
what?
Your Uncle Tom, me.
Oh,
Yeah, anyway.
Uncle Tommy's a great uncle name. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, that's funny. I get it.
Wait.
I'm not even really trying to make that much of a joke. I figure you guys would understand Uncle Tom would be a fucking weird thing. That,
I didn't get it until you just
I didn't
explained
say
it.
because
okay, all right.
Please don't text me tomorrow
Everyone
and
calls
ask if
him
you're
Tommy.
funny.
Can I just say one quick thing?
I'll stop talking. Yeah, go ahead.
No. You're good. We went. Susanna's parents have a cabin in the woods or whatever, and we went and to visit it, and like all the cabins have these cute little names, like the Getaway, and like
Was one Uncle Tom cabin?
one was Uncle Tom's cabin.
Jesus Christ.
I just hit him.
That's okay. No, it's okay. Someone should be hit about that, and it's okay that it's me. Anyway,
Pass that on.
Uncle Tommy.
So anyway, I never even considered, well, because he's really my second cousin, but he's old as shit. So I just always called him Uncle Tommy because it's weird to be like my cousin who's 65,
Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah.
And his daughters I consider my cousins. So anyway, he was there, and knowing that he was there just made the whole thing super tense, even though it wasn't that big of a deal. Because he's like, I know that they've seen comedy. They saw me do it like 3 years ago when I bombed headlining Always the first time I headlined it. It was like 4 years ago, actually, probably. And he was there, and I remember being like so upset that like I had bombed and my family was there. And he texted me at like 3 a.m. that night when I could tell he was drunk and was like, you should keep doing this, blah, blah, blah. And then the next night, the next time he saw me, he didn't text me, but he talked to me afterwards because he did not talk to me afterwards that time. He talked to me afterwards this time, and he was like, I probably couldn't see that if you were my daughter, but you're not my daughter, and I could think, and so I thought it was really funny. And he also texted my mom and said that I did great. So I was like, oh, that's
nice.
so nice. Yeah.
And it's nice to know, honestly, that because you didn't do well before in front of him, that he's actually like telling you the truth,
Right,
rather than the
exactly,
feeling of just
right.
like, you did great.
But if like
Right.
a
I
family
hated
member told me that I bombed, I think I would be so crushed. But also because my jokes are super dirty, so it's so much. To me, it's so much.
You have
more
like a lot on the
humiliating.
line as far as
Yeah.
like what you're.
Right. It's like you put yourself out there. Like to them, you have.
It's
put
like a very
yourself out there and
vulnerable
been
spot to
rejected
It's a
be
very
or whatever.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I was just doing jokes about kids in school, which are like the only jokes I do that aren't dirty, and some of those are still dirty. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
not like pedophile dirty. It's just like kids are
No,
gross,
yeah.
and sometimes you hate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I could see that if you were like extra vulnerable, being like, I'm talking about things that I already am uncomfortable talking to you about.
Right.
And like, so I took a big risk and it wasn't worth it.
Did you
'cause
do
it
sex
didn't-
jokes in front of your dad or remotely? I know you don't really have like sex jokes, but you do jokes about like birth control and.
Yeah, I'll tell those now. I do. I feel like when I first started, I was a little nervous about it. I literally used to tell jokes about being a virgin when I started. And my Aunt Sue, who's also very funny, my dad's little sister, was like, I know when you stopped telling that joke, what happened? And she literally saw me once and was like, you didn't tell the joke. And I was still a virgin then, don't worry. But I just like hadn't told it. And my mom like literally found out that I wasn't a virgin anymore via a roast of my boyfriend that was on YouTube.
Oh my god!
And I was 23, so it wasn't
Wait,
that
was it still
scandalous.
David?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's my dude. But like I told a joke about how because he. By the way, I also just need everyone to know that I would never date a person that threw a roast for themselves. This was
Yeah.
someone else asked him to do it because he was the editor of a magazine that was like local in town, and he's like, we're just finding local people to roast. And that's why there was a roast. And he knew a lot of comics. So they were like, oh, it'd be fun to roast you because all of your friends are comedians. And so we can do this.
I would never suggest a roast for myself, but if someone
think roasts are so
suggested
fun.
if someone
Yeah.
suggested it, and if it was like a fundraiser or something, I think I would do it.
And I like love beefing and I love all shows like that. But I just need everyone to know that I didn't lose my virginity
Right.
to someone who's like, I'm throwing a roast for myself.
Here's something I believe.
I want there to be a roast of David to happen. 'cause-
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh my god.
It's on
seems
YouTube.
so
You can find
easy.
a lot of the videos.
I think the only people that it's embarrassing if they roast themselves are cis white men, because I know a black person and a woman who have thrown roast for themselves that I didn't think was pathetic. But I think if any,
It can be very fun, but I just feel like, it's something about,
like
especially
Shep
this was
Kelly
like,
threw a roast for herself, and I was like, this is really really fun.
I always love it when people do it, but I also like in
I
this
called her
time-
King Latifah.
Oh my god, that's so good. That's wonderful. That's very,
It
very
was
good.
one of my better roast jokes.
That's and like 2 words. Like it's
Yeah.
a 2-word
Yeah.
perfect roast joke.
Yeah.
I don't really like particularly give a shit about drag, but drag names to me are the best part of it. And
they're
the best
amazing.
one I've ever seen was just on a poster for like an upcoming drag show at Always, and it was Queef Latina.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
Queef Latina is so
It's-
good.
that's my favorite.
I
That's
love drag.
amazing.
No, I love drag names so much.
Shout out to Queef Latina.
Yeah, Queef Latina, whoever you are, we love you so much. But yeah, my mom watched the video of the roast, and I told a joke about losing my virginity to Dave in the roast. And then my mom, and I told my mom not to watch the videos not because of that, because I was like, I'm 23, but because all of them were about Dave loving drugs. Like, so many jokes were like, Dave Lewis loves drugs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need my parents to see that about
Yeah.
the guy I'm dating. And then my mom's like, I watched your video. She just called and like opened with
Your
like,
video?
I watched your video. And I was like, I asked you not to watch that. And she goes, I don't remember you saying that. And then she goes, I thought it was very funny and I'm not surprised. And then that was
That's
our
nice.
conversation when I was 23 about having sex.
Yeah, who's gonna be shocked?
I know.
about
At 20,
that?
honestly,
Yeah.
it's like about time at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean that you're fucking, or that like
Yeah.
David Lewis has like peered into the void.
Yes. Yeah. That he loves drugs. That's,
He looks like the protagonist of a movie about a professor losing his job.
Ooh, that's a nice. Every person recently he's run into has drunkenly called him Bob Ross, and it makes him want to shave his head because he hates it so much. And I'm like, I think it's fun. I think Bob Ross is an attractive person, but
Really?
I mean, attractive in his like personality. I think Dave is much more attractive than Bob Ross.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course. He's like, no matter, and his hair's way better because Bob Ross had a perm and Dave has like very beautiful curls. So like, I don't want him to be upset in like being compared to that because I'm like, don't shave your head because of that because you have actually very nice hair.
Also,
But-
Bob Ross could be like 10 times less attractive and still get it because he's awesome.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I feel like people just were into him as a person.
Yeah.
But
I remember because like I guess the joy of painting or whatever, that's what it's
yeah,
called.
yeah,
right?
joy of painting.
It came on Netflix and then everyone started talking about it again and I was like, it's kind of fucking lame. Who gives a fuck? And then
It's very moving.
I was hosting my show at Sydney's. I was hosting Night Church, and it was on silent too. They had the joy of painting on the TV by the bar, like away
And
from the
everybody was
stage.
staring at it.
No. Everyone was watching the show, and I was watching the fucking Bob Ross, and I was like, oh, I'm wrong, man. This shit kicks ass,
Yeah.
dude.
Like, I cannot look away from this thing.
Especially as someone who can't like make anything look good ever. Like I'm
And- oh my God.
incapable of doing that. I'm like, this is fucking.
Well, I know to
As a
watch
happy little accident myself. Sorry, go on.
to watch any progress. Like Monica Scott is doing like stained glass stuff now, and she started to make like making it videos on her Instagram, and I like cannot not look at them because I love seeing an artist like fast track do a thing.
Yeah. We're talking about Bob Ross and how beautiful of a man he is.
Because we're talking about David Lewis, and then everybody calls David Lewis Bob Ross because he has curly hair and a
Have you talked
beard.
about Throb Ross?
I have not yet talked about Throb Ross, which I thought I'd drop immediately because it's my proudest moment in life.
That was a great costume. Laura was Throb Ross for Mardi Gras.
And I've never felt more sexually attractive than when I was Throb Ross because I was so
yeah.
confident.
I did.
Your titties were like out, but they were covered.
Exactly. And they're so small that I had pasties on them, and that's truly is like wearing a shirt for me.
I felt weirdly comfortable just being like, "Can I play with your fake chest hair?" And then I was like, "Well, I should."
You know, right?
Yeah.
It felt like even like Kate was saying that I like walked differently as Throb Ross, and I was like, yeah, I feel amazing. Like I feel a way that I just am like, man, chubby dudes have it made. Like because I was like very just like, wow, I'm very like comfortable flashing people because I did have like happy tree pasties that I had to show everyone, and also I was
And
like,
you had
yeah,
a purple facial hair. You contoured your face. To
I
look
did the
more
whole thing,
masculine.
yeah. It felt very masculine.
Purple Bob Ross wig.
Well, that was, and I love too, because I was like asking around for a fro wig ahead of time, and I just remember Geneva being like, "Please don't wear a fro
wig, and
for
you're
fun."
like, no, it's to be a white man.
Yes, I was like, I promise it's to be a white person with a perm and not like a
And,
fro in a funny way.
I can totally see how in any other situation except for being Bob Ross, it would be offensive, but there was nothing offensive.
Well,
about
no, it was about being like a white man with an '80s perm. I was like, I
Yeah.
promise it's like an '80s white perm and not me trying
Was Bob
to.
Ross Jewish? Ross.
He
could
literally
be.
had a perm. Like that was a perm that he got because he.
I mean, there's a lot of Jews with the last name Ross, though.
Well, sure, he might have been Jewish. I don't know, but I know that his hair was naturally straight and that he permed it. And then he started getting famous when he had the perm, and so he could never stop perming it, and he was very upset because he didn't actually like it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I did some research.
He had
before
like
I
really
was
heavy
Throb.
like PTSD too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
I
was
just
like
only
a-
knew about his hair.
Yeah, he was a Vietnam vet.
That's Bob
Oh, what happened?
I just peeled off one of my fingernails.
Whoa!
No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, let me see. Oh, weird.
it is like I don't. Yeah. Wow. You're right.
He could get it back in the day.
He could get it at any point.
yeah.
Is he alive?
No, he died at 59 from cancer.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck that. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I did it.
He was my dad. It would be weird to dress up as a sexy version of your dad for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, super.
That would be very.
I dress up as a sexy version of my dad every day.
Like that's just what I am in life.
Yeah, I mean, pictures of my dad at whatever age I am look exactly like me, and I'm like, oh, god damn it.
Did he have long hair?
Yep.
Oh wow. Did he have your mustache and a whole beard situation?
No, I think he did. It was like clean shaven and then a beard. I've only known him with a beard. One time he shaved his face and I hated him.
Yeah, no, it's like my dad shaved his mustache off when I was a kid and I cried.
Yeah,
Because
that
I just
shit
was like, your
sucks.
face changed.
Yeah.
And now he hasn't had a mustache since then, but I just feel as a kid I was very upset.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the next thing.
Okay.
There's so much of your fingernail coming off.
No, it's
No, it's a fake fingernail, so it's
a fake
fine.
fingernail. I'm just like, I've had them on for so long. I'm so excited to like get most of them off. I think they're ready.
We're all happy for her right now, Benjamin.
I'm glad this is happening on mic. You should do
can't
it.
Yeah, you
Do
should
it
you
into
should
the mic.
ASMR it into the mic.
Oh yeah, ASMR.
Oh, I was
People would
watching
love it.
ASMR today, and Jeff would not get out of bed, so I put on ASMR. How do you say it? Mukbang?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the food.
Mukbang? Yeah.
Where they eat a shit.
I actually love that shit.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah.
But it's MUKBANG, and it's like women eating, and it does have to be women somehow, but it's them eating like crunchy things, not like, because at first I had like accidentally played something of someone eating pasta, which is a disgusting sound, but like people eating crunchy things I love. And so I started playing it, and it made him get out of bed because it was like 3 p.m. I was like, get the fuck out of bed. And then I started playing it. He was like, fine.
Because you love it and he hates it,
Yeah.
and so it's like that's the.
Well, I
nails
didn't
on
even know
Jim
I
Boyne.
loved it. And then I now love it.
We were watching live.
It's
mukbang.
a non-sexual fetish.
Well, I mean, this is the thing because ASMR is also predominantly performed by women.
Yeah.
It's like it's clearly like a human loneliness thing.
Because it's like an intimate sound to be like talking. I feel like
Yeah, and like people, it's like you know, people who like get their hair cut because they're sad because they just want to be touched in the hair.
Oh, I mean, I don't know people like that, but I can imagine that
Yeah.
there are people like that.
It's like that.
I mean, I think also there's just something satisfying about that specific. I don't know why.
Because some
that's-
people literally have like a physical reaction to the sound that they just like love the
Right.
sound, and so it's. I feel that way. This is gonna sound very lame, but I feel like how people feel about ASMR about the scene in the original Mary Poppins where they jump into the sidewalk. I truly like am addicted to that. Like I was like I love that scene so much,
Yeah.
and it brings me so much joy even to just think about it that There was a channel of just people doing sidewalk chalk drawings and jumping into them and having it then be an animated song sequence. I would be very into it.
I feel that way about a lot of media, like where I just want something to be like a specific scene from a movie to be a whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't know a specific
I thought
amount.
that was an Adderall for a second. I was like, are you
No,
about
it's
to eat
just
that?
pieces of my fingernails. that I throw away. I've been picking up. I got a dip manicure, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, you haven't been complaining about it for 3 episodes straight.
Yeah, because I didn't get it professionally taken off, which I could have done if I wasn't so busy. But if you're a lady or a gentleman who likes manicures, and if you're not on the go all the time like I am, then you should definitely get a dip manicure, because I just never had time to get it removed. So I've been peeling it off slowly, and it's ripping my fingernails off.
What's the
But it
difference of a
lasted for-
dip between a.
Oh, I'll
normal-
tell you. And
Okay. We're sponsored by Dip Manicures.
Yeah.
Fuck capitalism. Our sponsor is Dip Manicures.
So wait, what
Oh,
time?
dude, we should get a
what time is
sponsor.
it?
I don't give a fuck. I do kind of want to get paid.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Oh, 7:37.
What time you
7:39.
have to leave?
Oh, so I do have to text
7:36
and
probably.
see. I'm
Yeah.
Everyone keep talking. I'm just gonna do some
Okay,
logistics.
so I'll tell you all the difference between a dip manicure,
wait.
a gel manicure, and a regular manicure.
Wait,
What are you doing? What are you
wait.
doing?
Just wait. Before you start talking. Okay, now.
Okay, the difference. A dip manicure, you're drowning me out. A dip manicure is when they have a powder that they put an adhesive on, and then you put your fingernails in that powder multiple times, and then they put a top coat on it, which is different from a gel because a gel is just a super thick type of what's it called? Polish. And then they put that under UV light, but you don't have to do a UV light with the dip manicure, and it stays. Fuck you, Michael.
And then it stays.
And then it stays for like 6 weeks. And it doesn't crack unless you like really manhandle it. Look, I have Sharpie on mine. I got all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Mine lasted for over 6 weeks, and then I had to peel it off myself. And my nails are still stronger than when I used to peel off my gel manicure. And I didn't pick my cuticles because it was so thick that I didn't have any edge on my nails, so I couldn't do it. All right, I'm done. Thank you. It was not supposed to be an ad.
No, that was amazing.
That was so fun. Okay.
Or in the meanwhile, I use no bite nail polish because I won't stop biting my nails.
Oh yeah. Is it Mavala Stop or do you use a different brand?
I forget. I don't know what the brand is.
Is that like when you like
Recently.
spray shit?
It's like bitter
on,
apple on dogs' paws and
Yes,
shit.
that's exactly- yeah.
I'm a dog. I'm a dog or a toddler. Because all the Amazon reviews were like, my toddler won't stop sucking on their fingers, and I'm like, I'm 33.
No, I have I've talked about it on the podcast before, so I'll keep it brief. But I have a thing where I'll like peel a fingernail off and then use it to pick my teeth completely involuntarily.
Oh yeah.
It's
I feel like I heard this the one episode of this podcast.
or I
you
say
talked
it on
about
every
this.
episode. That's also
You're
possible.
like, welcome. I'm Michael. This is what I do. with my
Yeah,
fingernails."
right. Nell was like, she was like, oh, dude, I do that too. And I'm like, really? Like, what do you do? And she tells me, and she's like, and then I take the nail and I pick my teeth with it. And for some reason, because I'm an idiot, I was like, you take a nail, like a hammer and a nail, but like I didn't clarify.
But you knew that you did the other thing.
Exactly. I don't know what's wrong with me. And so, I was just like, oh man, that's fucked up. And that was like the end of the conversation. So she probably still feels ashamed because, yeah. But I think it's like my blind spot about it is so pronounced.
Yeah.
Because I don't perceive it when I do it. When I talk about it, apparently I immediately forget that I talk. It's like, I don't know. It's weird.
Some weird Amelia Bedelia shit you
Yeah.
got going on there.
Well, I think it's time for us to wrap. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm very sexy right now, so I want to talk as much as possible because of my
Oh
lost
yeah,
voice.
you have like a good
Yeah, this
Kathleen
is
Turner voice.
ASMR for
yeah,
sure.
this is
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
ASMR. All right, thank y'all.
I'm just
Thanks
gonna
for-
describe a manicure I got.
All right, thank you,
Listening to
Laura.
Pods, No Casters. Thanks,
do
Laura
you
Sanders.
have anything you want to plug?
Oh, come to my open mic every Monday at 12 Mile Limit. Only if you